Hi, it's Kernotex here with a video trying to move a licensed copy of Windows 10 to another machine. I've paid for a retail copy of Windows 7 it was originally, and I took the free upgrade to Windows 10, and in that time that's what Microsoft have offered, the free upgrade, and they've also allowed upgrades from Windows 10 to Windows 11. So that was my plan, was to move this copy of Windows 10 that I wasn't using, which is currently on a server machine, to a new machine that I've built recently, and then to upgrade it to 11 to use it. In fact, it was only to be used to allow any BIOS updates or any firmware updates. That's the only real reason at the moment that I needed Windows on that machine. But it wasn't all plain sailing. Originally, when I updated the various Windows 7 and 8 that I had on different machines, I actually on some machines uninstalled the upgrade and then installed Windows 10 afresh to ensure that the upgrade was secure and the machines were still activated and the licenses were still all good. The transfer seemed to work initially, but that was only after I had to create a online account to link the old machine with the account, and then on the new machine after I'd installed Windows 10 to log in with that online account to say, like, this is the new hardware that's going to be using this license. The problem came after I had upgraded that version of Windows 10 to Windows 11. I thought, well, I want a fresh version of Windows 11 on the new machine, so I wiped out the upgrade that I'd done, and it wouldn't accept the new installation, the fresh installation of Windows 11. It just kept on saying that it's not activated, even though I was still logging in with the new online Microsoft Online account that I'd created, and I was telling it, when I was doing the troubleshooting, I was telling it that this is new hardware. It was coming up with various errors, various codes meaning different things, that either it was like an invalid copy or couldn't contact the Microsoft servers and so on. And eventually, after a lot of messing around, which included 2 sessions online on the chat, after all that, it appeared that it was suggesting to me that I buy a valid or a legal copy of Windows. Now, this really irked me because I've already paid for a copy. I'm legitimately transferring it. I'm legitimately upgrading it. And I thought, oh, this is terrible. That I was basically, it wasn't outright saying that I was using an illegal copy, but it intimated that I was using an illegal copy, and it was getting quite annoying. It was getting so frustrating that I was in a quandary whether to just abandon the idea of upgrading the machine or putting a copy of Windows 11 on there temporarily, or even Windows 10, just to get the firmware updates on there, and then just wiping it and just forgetting about Windows completely. And in the end, it turned out that I managed to find a hard disk image of the old machine just after I'd upgraded it, where I was able to retrieve the old product key, which unfortunately was the only product key I hadn't had a record of. Got product keys all in a spreadsheet of all my other machines. This was the one machine that I didn't have the original product key. I'd lost the original email when I bought it from Microsoft and downloaded it through Digital River. So yes, that disk image that I took was a lifesaver. Otherwise, I would have had to have purchased another license. So what I'm going to do is show you some of the tools that I found in trying to research how to get this registered. Some commands that are available within Windows itself to run. I'm just hoping that it may help somebody else. The fact that you've paid for something and the company you've paid money to are effectively locking you out of using that product, or at least that's how I felt. So one of the things that I found out about doing, which is probably useful to do first of all, which I didn't do initially, but I'll do it now to show you, is if you get a admin prompt up, It's just to check the health of what they call the deployment image. I actually did have some errors on this deployment image, and it's down to the graphics card. You'll have to I'll have to apologise and excuse me for the poor quality of the screen. It's only 1024 by 768 the screen, and it's obviously been stretched to the HD, which is why it looks a bit fuzzy. This is a server, this machine, which is why I don't use it with Windows anymore. And it's got a very basic VGA card in it, a PCI VGA card that's from early to mid 90s. I think it's an S3 Verge card, so it's really basic, it's really slow, and I think that's been causing some reboots on the machine, some blue screens of death. Um, so I assume those reboots occasionally, if I'm doing things too quickly, it just locks up and reboots. I assume that's why the this deployment image has got well, not trash, but there were some problems with it. But luckily, these commands I showed you did actually manage to fix them. So there's this command called dism, which if I click on the window, yeah, DISM, supply switch called online, oops, and then another option called clean up image, and then a check health option. And obviously this goes through and checks the health of the image. Yeah, I've had some more errors this afternoon, and it seems that it's right, so it's not a hyphen, it's one word, check health. Right, so it says no store corruption detected, so that's okay. The next one you can run is scan health. So this does something a little bit different. This takes a little bit longer. Okay, so that is finished successfully. It took about 2 minutes, I think. And as you can see, it says there's no corruption detected. So the next thing you can do after that, I think this is probably more if you do need to fix something, but you can run this command again, but with restore health on the end. While that's going through, I'll just go through the tools that I downloaded to fathom out what was going on with the product key. The first one's called Jelly Bean Key Finder, Magic Jelly Bean Key Finder. That downloads as a zip file. You just unzip it, and inside that zip file there's three tools, or three files rather, and the middle one, Key Finder, is the one you're interested in. This installs a tool, but I think it's I think you either need to buy something or is disabled in some way that it's incomplete, basically, without you parting with some money. But the Key Finder is the free part of it, which I'll show you in a minute. The other one, MJ Diag. Now this tool is a bit out of date for, I think, anything after Windows 8. It shows some incorrect results on Windows 10 and Windows 11. But it's still useful because it does show some good stuff. There's also one of the features on it, when you click on it, it causes an error, but it does still appear to work. Right, so yeah, that's completed successfully. There's one other command you can run here, which is SFC scan now, which just does a system file check, I believe. It says it takes some time, but I think it's relatively quick compared to what we've just seen. Yeah, the other two tools, this is a free bit of software. It's just a executable that you can download. I think it's a GitHub project, so you can search for that, ShowKey Plus. And then the last one's a tool which you'll have to find. I don't think it's readily available from Microsoft, but you can find it elsewhere on the internet, and it's more of a tool for enterprise, volume activation tool, but it's got some useful information it comes up with when you run that. So, right, rather than wait for this to finish, I'm just going to abort that. I know that I don't need to run that, so I'll just shut that down for now. I don't need the command prompts anymore. What we'll do is get up a PowerShell prompt, because I'll show you a command before I run the other tools that I was told to. Well, I found this on the web anyway, but this is the command that I was told to run while I had the new Windows 11 machine up and running, and the support guy at Microsoft told me to turn on the old machine to run this command. What it does, it retrieves the original product key. Now, I didn't think this would be very useful because, as I told him, I installed Windows 10 on the old machine from fresh, which is what you've got now. It's a fresh installation. In fact, if I show you the activation page, because it is still activated, even though it's offline, system, find it. Oh, it's not there. Oh, is it this one here actually? Yeah, activation. So you can see it's Windows 10 Pro and it's activated with a digital license. And that's that generic license that I said about that all Windows 10 upgrades machines get. So yeah, you can see it's still activated with digital license. This is what happened. As I say, I installed Windows 10 as an upgrade on top of Windows 7, and then I installed Windows 10 from afresh, and it remained registered. As soon as I booted it up for the first time, it recognized the machine straight away. So this command apparently was supposed to show me my original product key, which it didn't do, obviously, because the machine hasn't got the original product key anywhere on it, and I didn't see that it was going to go off on the internet anywhere fetching product keys from Microsoft servers. I can't imagine that would ever happen. That would potentially be a security issue. But anyway, this command you run in PowerShell, WMIC path software licensing service. Now, you'll see this spelt with capital letters, but Windows 10 is, or Windows in general, is a bit immune to capitalization, so it doesn't really matter, but it can help to actually read the words, I suppose. So I'll use them for this bit. So that's complete command, WMIC path software licensing service get OA3X original product key. And what this will do is it's supposed to fetch the original product key out of the registry somewhere, or somewhere in the Hive, I think it is. And it appears under here. Now, obviously, like I say, because I've installed this from scratch, this Windows 10, there isn't anything there. So despite me suggesting that it wouldn't produce anything, he got me to run it. And as I say, because I'd run it on the old machine and that was connected to the network, and I did this while the new machine was connected to the network, I think that's why things got even more sticky for me on the new machine. Luckily, the old machine, as you saw, didn't get affected by this at all. So that's that command that could be quite useful if you have done an upgrade and you've still got the old key to fetch. Now, the other tools probably more or less do the same thing, but they're all third-party tools. What I've shown you is obviously built into Windows. You don't need to download anything extra. The first tool I'll show you then is well, I can run it from down here. It's just the keyfinder.exe. I'll click that there. It comes up with details about this machine, and you can see there the CD key is the generic key that is the digital license that's associated with this machine, and that will be on thousands of other machines that have gone through the same process. So there's not much else to do here apart from you can load the Hive, and what it will do, it will search for other, sorry, not load Hive. yes, sorry, load Hive. That will allow you to go to the C drive into the Windows directory, and then if you go to System32, it will load the Hive that's on the machine, and it will actually search for other. If you just highlight that and click OK, sorry, no, it's just the Windows directory it wants. Pardon. So load Hive. So C colon Windows. Just highlight that and click OK. It will fetch out any other serial numbers that it might recognise. Always comes up with zone alarm, but I think that's the last product it actually looks for keys for. You can see it's checked 478 key locations and found no others. So that's that one. That can come up with the original product key when you do this load Hive. So that's another way to find the original product key. This MGA diag, this is useful for getting more information out of the system. You just click on continue, and after a short period, see it does say validation unsupported OS. Now that's because, as I say, it's Windows 10. I think this product only really works reliably up to Windows 8, and you can see there again it's got the partial product key, and that's the digital license key once again. There's not much else that's useful here. You can see it's all got NA against it. It does come up with some useful stuff on Windows 7. I haven't tried it on Windows 8, but I believe it does work on Windows 8. If you click on the copy button, you do get an error, but when the clipboard buffer has actually been filled with a lot of this information plus a lot of other information, so that actually does work even though it comes up with the error. So that can be quite useful to verify that you have actually got a valid key, especially if it's an older copy of Windows, not particularly so useful for Windows 10. Now this product here, ShowKey Plus, is another one that will show you the original key. Again, I said it's a free bit of software available from GitHub. Again, it's showing the digital license, and it says their default key requires a digital license for activation. That's the digital license that I couldn't get, or the original license, the Windows 7 license, I couldn't find. A couple of useful things with this. Check edition. You can type in a product key. So I use this to check that the product key that I actually managed to retrieve was valid, and it came up with the right version of Windows and the right tier of Windows. So I think it was Windows 10 Enterprise, as I remember. So that's quite useful if you've got a valid product key to put that in there, and it will check it for you. And then the retrieve key, this works a bit the same as the key finder does, but this actually wants a particular software file called software. And I'll show you where that is. It's in a similar place to the previous place we looked at. Under Windows, System32, and then under config, you need admin access. Now here there is a file called software, it's that file there. The only trouble is this program doesn't seem to be able to access that file while it's in use. It does say to you that you'll have to retrieve that file from, for example, a backup file. So this file's open at the moment, and that's why it can't access it. So if I actually try to go into this and access it, you'll see that it won't actually work. So if I click OK, so you don't have permission to open this file. So that's a bit unfortunate. Whether or not I could run this maybe as admin, let's try that, run as admin. And also you'll notice there's another thing here. It tells me that the own key is not present in the firmware. So if you were to run this on a newer bit of hardware, I would assume that it would tell you that the key is in the OEM, is in the BIOS, the OEM key. So I'll just go and locate this file again, and I want config, and that should be enough. Yeah, it says it's in use this time, so I've got admin access, but now it's saying the file is in use, and that is the problem. You need to copy that outside of a running Windows system, and then load it onto your documents or on the desktop, and then just access a file separately. So that's quite a useful tool to have as well. And then lastly, this tool here, this volume activation management tool, well, it's already set up. I'll just run it down here rather than reinstall it. If I click on this, so this is available on the web if you look around. I don't think you could get it from Microsoft anymore, but it is kicking around. Now, the reason why this is good, because A, it's a Microsoft bit of software, and B, it tells you whether the product's licensed or not. So it's just confirmation that the product is licensed. You can see it's got green tick there. If it's not licensed, it will tell you what's wrong with it. I think I had on the new machine when I ran this, it came up with this option here, as I remember. So it confirmed what Windows was already telling me, that it wasn't licensed. So that can be quite a useful tool to run as well. I hope the video has been useful for you, just to show you some tools that might help you to either retrieve a product key or to confirm that you've got a legitimate copy of Windows that is registered. If you'd like to give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate that, or subscribe to my channel to hear about any other videos I do in a similar vein. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.